There is a planet in deep space that no soldier wants to visit. Star maps mark it in red. Pilots call it the Death World. Every creature there is bigger, vaster, and hungrier than anything humans have ever fought. Reportedly, over a dozen alien scouting teams tried to land there. Almost none came back. But one human did something nobody expected. He did not run. He did not fight. He built a treehouse. And now, according to reports from nearby alien outposts, the deadliest monsters on that entire planet line up every single night just to sleep near him. The truth behind this will shock you. By the end of this video, you will learn 3 things that most people don't know. First, why the most feared predator on the planet refused to attack a lonely wooden house. Second, what really happened the night the sky turned red and every creature for miles ran toward the human, not away from him. And third, the strange secret hidden inside that treehouse that changed the fate of an entire death world. This is not a war story. This is not a rescue story. This is something stranger. This is the story of one man, one tree, and a planet full of monsters who slowly stopped seeing him as prey. Let me show you exactly how this happened. A long time ago, before anyone knew his name, he was just another worker on a supply ship. His job was small. He checked cargo boxes and fixed broken machines. He was not a soldier. He was not a hero. He was just a tired man doing a tired job, flying from one space station to another. One night, his ship had engine trouble. The captain tried to fix it, but nothing worked. Red lights flashed everywhere. Alarms screamed through the halls. The crew panicked. They needed to land somewhere fast, or they would all die in space. The navigation system found only one nearby planet. It was green, wet, and full of life. But it also had a warning label older than the ship itself. The label said one simple thing: Death World. Do not land. The captain had no choice. It was land there or die in the void of space. So the ship dropped down through thick clouds and crashed into a giant jungle. When the smoke cleared, the man opened his eyes. He was alive, but the ship was broken beyond repair. Around him, the jungle was massive. Trees stood taller than buildings. Strange sounds echoed from every direction. Somewhere far away, something roared, and the ground shook a little. The rest of the crew were badly hurt. Some could not walk. The captain looked at the man and said one thing: "We need shelter. Now." The man did not know how to fight monsters. He did not have big weapons, but he knew how to build things. That was his only skill. So while others watched the trees in fear, he looked up and saw something interesting. A giant, ancient tree stood right beside the crash site. Its trunk was wider than a house. Its branches were thick and strong. He had an idea. If they could not fight the monsters, maybe they could get above them. Maybe height could save them. Using broken pieces from the ship, ropes, metal sheets, and wood from the jungle, he began building. It took days. His hands became rough and full of cuts. He barely slept. Every night, he heard the growls of creatures moving through the dark jungle below. But every morning, he was still alive. And so, he kept building. Slowly, a small wooden house began to rise inside the giant tree. It was simple at first, just a floor and a roof. But it was enough to keep the crew safe from the ground-level predators that hunted at night. The other crew members were amazed. They had expected to die on this planet within days. Instead, they had a safe place to sleep, high above the danger. But safety on a death world never lasts long. One night, a massive creature, bigger than any elephant on Earth, with thick gray skin and sharp tusks, walked right under the tree. The crew froze in fear. They thought this was the end. The man, however, did something strange. Instead of hiding completely, he quietly climbed to a lower branch and watched the creature from a safe distance. He noticed something important. The creature was not attacking the tree. It was not even looking up. It seemed tired, and it had a wound on its leg. He remembered something from his old job. Back on his home planet, injured animals often avoided fights. They just wanted to rest and heal. Maybe, he thought, this giant beast was the same. He took a small risk. He dropped a piece of soft cloth and some water down near the creature, careful not to get too close. Then he quickly climbed back up. The next morning, the creature was gone, but it left something behind. A large, strange fruit, placed neatly at the bottom of the tree, almost like a gift. The crew could not believe it. Was this really happening? Was a death world monster trying to be friendly? Nobody knew the full answer yet. But that single moment changed everything. It was the first sign that maybe, just maybe, this planet was not only about danger. Maybe, if approached the right way, even the deadliest creatures could feel something other than hunger. That night, the man could not sleep. He sat by the window of his half-built treehouse, looking out at the dark jungle. He did not know it yet, but this was only the beginning of something much bigger. Something that would soon change how every creature on this death world saw him. Weeks passed. The crew slowly adjusted to life inside the treehouse. Food was a problem, so the man built small traps and gardens using seeds from the jungle. Water was collected from rain using large leaves and pipes made from the crashed ship's parts. Life was hard, but they were surviving. The treehouse kept growing bigger. More rooms were added. Walkways connected different branches. A small lookout point was built near the top, so someone could always watch the jungle below. But one thing kept confusing the man. The animals never fully attacked the tree. Small predators sometimes circled below, but they never climbed up. It was strange, especially on a planet known for having the deadliest creatures in the sector. One evening, the answer became clear. As the sun set and turned the sky orange, the man noticed a family of small, fox-like creatures gathering near the base of the tree. Their fur was silver, and their eyes glowed slightly in the dark. They were not attacking. They were just sitting there, watching the tree. Curious, the man carefully climbed down with a small light in his hand. He kept his distance, but he sat quietly near them. The creatures did not run. Instead, they watched him with calm eyes. He remembered what happened with the giant tusked beast weeks earlier. Maybe these creatures were doing the same thing. Maybe they were tired of fighting for survival every single day. Maybe, on a planet full of endless danger, even predators wanted a place where they did not have to fight. He decided to test something small. He placed a bit of food near the base of the tree, then moved back. The fox-like creatures slowly approached and ate it. They did not attack him. They did not attack each other. They simply ate in peace, something that rarely happened in the wild jungle below. From that night on, the man began leaving small amounts of food near the tree every evening. Slowly, more creatures started appearing. Some were small. Some were much larger and more dangerous looking. But strangely, none of them fought near the tree. It was as if the area around the giant tree had become silent, unspoken safe zone. The other crew members were nervous about this. They worried that feeding the creatures would attract even bigger predators. But the man had a different idea. He believed the opposite might be true. On a death world, where every creature lived in constant fear and hunger, maybe offering peace instead of a fight could be the safest option of all. As days turned into weeks, more discoveries followed. The man noticed that certain predators, ones known for hunting in packs, began avoiding fights with each other near the treehouse. It was like an invisible rule had formed. No blood near the great tree. One night, something unexpected happened. A massive, wolf-like predator approached the tree, the kind of creature that hunted in the deepest, darkest parts of the jungle. This was not a small fox. This was a true apex predator, one that even other dangerous creatures avoided. The crew panicked. They feared this was finally the attack they had been dreading. But the man, calm and careful, walked to the edge of a lower branch and looked down. The wolf-like creature stared back at him. For a long, tense moment, nobody moved. Then, slowly, the predator lowered its head, not in attack, but almost like a strange sign of respect, and walked away into the jungle. Nobody fully understood why. But something about the tree, and the man living in it, made even the deadliest hunters pause. Word of this strange, peaceful tree seemed to spread through the jungle itself, animal to animal, in ways no human could fully explain. Slowly, the treehouse was becoming something more than shelter. It was becoming known, in some strange way, across the death world. As months passed, the treehouse changed even more. What started as a simple shelter had grown into a small wooden fortress, built with careful hands and hard-earned experience. There were multiple floors now. Bridges connected different parts of the tree. Lanterns made from old ship parts glowed warmly at night, giving the treehouse a soft, welcoming light that could be seen from far across the jungle. The man had also learned much more about the creatures around him. He noticed patterns. Some animals came only at sunset. Others appeared during storms, seeking shelter from the rain and thunder. Slowly, he began adjusting the treehouse to make room for them. Small covered areas were built near the base, giving tired and frightened creatures a dry place to rest. At first, this seemed like a strange and even dangerous idea to the rest of the crew. But results spoke louder than fear. Not once did the sheltered creatures attack the humans. Instead, something remarkable began happening. The animals seemed calmer near the tree. Predators who normally fought each other for territory now rested peacefully nearby, almost like guests respecting a shared home. One rainy night, everything changed. A massive storm hit the jungle, stronger than anything the crew had experienced before. Lightning cracked across the sky. Trees bent under powerful winds. Deep in the jungle, a large, dangerous creature, a giant reptile with sharp scales, became trapped under a fallen tree, unable to move. Its cries echoed through the storm, desperate and pained. Most creatures would have simply avoided the area, letting nature take its course. But the man, watching from the treehouse, felt something different. He saw an opportunity not for gain, but simply to help. Against the warnings of his crew, he grabbed rope, a strong metal bar, and a torch, and made his way through the storm toward the trapped creature. It was risky. One wrong move, and the injured reptile could easily kill him in self-defense. But the man moved carefully, speaking calmly, the way he always did with the animals near the tree, using the metal bar as leverage. And with careful, patient effort, he managed to lift enough of the fallen tree for the reptile to pull itself free. The creature, now free but exhausted, turned toward him. For a tense second, danger filled the air. Then, slowly, the reptile lowered itself down and did not attack. It simply rested there, injured but safe, waiting out the storm near the man who had just saved its life. From that night forward, something shifted completely. Word, if animals could somehow share such things through instinct and behavior, seemed to travel fast. More creatures began appearing near the treehouse, not just to eat or hide, but seemingly to be near the man who had shown them unexpected kindness on a planet where kindness rarely existed. The treehouse was no longer just a human shelter. It was slowly becoming known as the one safe place on an entire death world. A place where monsters, predators, and gentle creatures alike could rest without fear. But not everyone was happy about this strange peace. Deep in the darkest part of the jungle, something far larger and far more dangerous had started to notice the growing safety around the tree. And it was not pleased. The creature living deepest in the jungle was known, in whispered animal instinct and old ship records, as the true ruler of the death world's dark heart. It was massive, ancient, and covered in thick black scales that could stop most weapons. Other predators avoided its territory completely. Even the giant tusked beasts and wolf-like hunters stayed far away from its hunting grounds. This creature had ruled through fear for longer than anyone could measure. But now, reports through animal movement and behavior suggested something troubling. Fewer creatures were fighting. Fewer were hunting each other near a certain giant tree. The natural order of fear that this beast depended on was slowly weakening. One night, without warning, the ground began to shake. The rhythm was slow, heavy, and deliberate. Every creature resting near the treehouse suddenly went still. Ears lifted, eyes turned toward the deep jungle. Even the bravest predators, ones that had grown calm and safe near the tree, backed away slightly, sensing something far more dangerous approaching. The man felt it too. The wooden floor beneath him trembled slightly with each heavy step. He climbed to the highest lookout point of the treehouse and looked out into the darkness. Slowly, massive glowing eyes appeared between the trees, far larger than anything he had seen before. The great black-scaled beast had come. It stopped at the edge of the clearing, staring directly at the treehouse. Every instinct told the man to run, to hide, to do anything except stand there. But running would achieve nothing against a creature this size. Instead, he did what he had always done. He stayed calm. He lit a single lantern and placed it at the very edge of the lowest branch, letting the warm light shine outward into the darkness, the same way he had welcomed every frightened creature before. It was a small, almost foolish gesture against something this powerful, but it was honest. The great beast took one slow step forward, then another. The ground shook harder. The other creatures near the tree pressed closer together, but none of them fled completely. Strangely, they seemed to trust the tree, even now. Then, something unexpected happened. The massive creature stopped just a few meters from the base of the tree. It lowered its enormous head and sniffed the air, catching the scent of food, warmth, and something else, the mixed scents of dozens of different animals, all resting peacefully in one place, without blood, without war. For a long, silent moment, the beast simply stared. Then, slowly, almost cautiously, it settled its massive body onto the ground beside the tree, just like every smaller creature had done before it. The undisputed ruler of the death world's darkest jungle had come not to destroy the treehouse, but, in its own strange way, to rest beside it. The man let out a breath he did not realize he was holding. He did not fully understand why this was happening. But one thing had become clear. This treehouse had become something far bigger than shelter. It had become a symbol of peace on a planet that had never known peace before. News of what happened that night could not be measured in words, only in behavior. From that point on, the great black-scaled beast returned often, always resting a respectful distance from the tree, never causing harm. Other predators, seeing their once-feared ruler behave this way, seemed to accept the treehouse even more completely. Months turned into what felt like a full alien year. The crashed ship's crew, once terrified prisoners of a deadly jungle, now lived in something that resembled a strange, peaceful village high in the branches of an ancient tree. Crops grew in hanging gardens. Rainwater systems provided clean drinking water. And every single night, without fail, creatures of all shapes and sizes gathered near the base of the great tree, resting safely under its shadow. It became something almost impossible to explain to outsiders. On a planet where every living thing was built to fight, hunt, and survive alone, one man and one tree had created a small, unshakable pocket of peace. Eventually, a passing patrol ship, searching for the long-lost missing crew, picked up an unusual energy signal from the planet's surface. When they finally landed nearby, expecting to find wreckage and possibly no survivors at all, they were stunned by what they saw instead. A massive, glowing treehouse stood tall in the jungle, surrounded not by danger, but by dozens of resting creatures, predators and prey alike, sleeping peacefully together under its warm lantern light. At the center of it all stood the man, older now, calm, and completely unafraid. The rescue team could barely believe their reports back to command. According to their logs, the Death World, one of the most dangerous planets ever recorded, had somehow developed a strange, peaceful zone unlike anything seen before. Scientists later suggested, though this remains a theory, not confirmed fact, that the man's consistent kindness, patience, and calm presence may have slowly changed learned predator behavior across generations of creatures, creating a rare pocket of safety in an otherwise brutal ecosystem. The man was offered a choice: return home to civilization, or stay behind on the death world, near the tree and the creatures who had come to trust him. He chose to stay. To this day, sources near that region of space report the same strange story. Every night, without fail, the monsters of the death world still check inches. Here is the twist most people never expect. The man was never trying to tame the death world. He never wanted to be a hero, a leader, or a legend. He simply wanted to survive one more day, then one more after that. Kindness was not his plan. It was simply the only tool he had left. And that is the real secret behind the story. The treehouse did not become safe because it was strong. It became safe because it offered something the entire planet had never known, a place without fear. Think back to the beginning of this video. We asked why the deadliest predator refused to attack. We asked what happened the night the ground shook. Now you know. It was not magic. It was not luck. It was patience, repeated night after night, until even monsters learned to trust. This planet, once marked as a place nobody should ever visit, slowly became something else entirely, proof that even in the most dangerous places, peace can quietly take root. If this opened your eyes, let's recap what we uncovered today. One stranded man turned a crashed ship into a treehouse. That treehouse slowly became a safe zone, trusted by nearly every creature on a death world. And even the most feared predator on the entire planet eventually chose peace over power. This story reminds us that courage isn't always about fighting. Sometimes, it's about staying calm when everything around you says to run. If this story kept you hooked till the very end, please hit that like button right now. It helps this channel grow and brings more incredible HFY stories straight to your feed. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because we upload powerful, mysterious Sci-Fi stories just like this one every single week. I want to hear from you. If you were stranded on a planet full of monsters, would you choose to fight? Or would you choose to build peace like this man did? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every single one. Also, check out our next video, where we explore another incredible HFY story about a lone human whose quiet strength changes the fate of an entire alien species. Trust me, you don't want to miss that one. Thank you for watching till the end. Stay curious, stay kind, and I'll see you in the next story.